What happens when a beloved television personality reaches her breaking point during a live broadcast? What began as a warm, feel-good interview with Valerie Bertinelli quickly turned into one of the most uncomfortable moments imaginable on daytime television. The segment was supposed to be simple. Valerie was appearing on The View to promote her cookbook and discuss the personal changes she had experienced in recent years. Producers expected an uplifting conversation about food, healing, family, and starting over. Instead, tensions erupted at the table, leaving everyone in the studio stunned. The morning initially seemed completely normal. Whoopi Goldberg welcomed Valerie warmly, while the other hosts greeted her with smiles. Valerie appeared relaxed as she explained how cooking had helped her navigate difficult periods in her life. She described cooking as more than simply preparing meals. For her, it had become a source of comfort and a way to reconnect with herself. The audience responded positively. Everything seemed to be going exactly as planned. Then, Joy Behar interrupted. With a noticeably sharper tone, Joy questioned whether Valerie's description of cooking as therapy was out of touch with people struggling to afford basic groceries. The atmosphere immediately changed. Valerie looked surprised, but attempted to remain composed. She explained that she had openly discussed her own struggles and wasn't suggesting that her experience applied to everyone. Joy wasn't satisfied. She pointed to Valerie's celebrity status and questioned whether promoting another cookbook was insensitive when ordinary families were struggling financially. The comment created an awkward silence around the table. Whoopi appeared ready to redirect the discussion, but Joy continued. She questioned why celebrities often turned to cooking and self-discovery after major breakups or divorces, suggesting that publicists were simply recycling the same inspirational storyline. Valerie's expression changed. She remained calm, but it was obvious that the criticism was becoming personal. She finally pushed back. Valerie explained that she hadn't come to the show claiming to be an expert. She had simply shared something that helped her through a difficult chapter and hoped her story could encourage someone else facing similar circumstances. Instead of backing down, Joy dismissed the explanation, suggesting that the cookbook was simply another way for a celebrity to make money. That remark appeared to cross a line. The other hosts began exchanging uncomfortable looks. Sarah attempted to defend Valerie, pointing out that many people genuinely find comfort in cooking during difficult periods. But Joy turned her frustration toward Sarah as well. The studio atmosphere became increasingly tense. What had started as a cheerful cookbook interview was now becoming a confrontation between the hosts and their guest. Valerie's patience was clearly running thin, yet she continued trying to keep her composure. The most shocking part wasn't simply that the conversation had become heated. It was how quickly a seemingly harmless topic had transformed into a debate about wealth, celebrity privilege, personal struggles, and whether public figures should be allowed to share their experiences without being attacked for them. The cameras continued rolling. The audience sat quietly, watching the tension unfold in real time. Producers behind the scenes were reportedly monitoring the situation closely as the conversation moved further away from the light-hearted segment they had planned. And Valerie appeared to be approaching her limit. At that point, nobody knew whether she would continue trying to smooth things over or finally say exactly what she was thinking. What happened next would turn an ordinary television appearance into a moment viewers would not soon forget. I think it's calculated and fake, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise just to make everyone comfortable. The words landed heavily across the studio. The audience had gone completely silent. What had started as a disagreement was now becoming something far more serious. Valerie took a deep breath and made one final attempt to calm things down. Joy, I honestly don't know what I've done to upset you, but this feels very personal. If you have an issue with me specifically, maybe we should discuss it privately instead of attacking me on live television. Instead of calming Joy, the comment appeared to push her further over the edge. Joy slammed her hand against the table, making several people visibly jump. Personal? You want to know what's personal? She fired back. What's personal is watching this show turn into a celebrity therapy session where we're expected to applaud every story and pretend everything is inspirational. Whoopi immediately tried to intervene. Joy, we need to take a breath here. Remember, we have a guest. But Joy was no longer willing to back down. She rose from her chair, visibly angry, and turned toward Valerie. Don't lecture me about taking a breath, Whoopi. I've been taking breaths for years while watching this show lose its edge. I'm done pretending that every celebrity who walks onto this stage deserves endless praise just because they wrote a book. Valerie slowly stood as well. Her patience had finally run out. That's enough, she said firmly. I don't know what your problem is, but I'm not going to sit here and let you disrespect me. I came here as a guest, and you're treating me like I personally did something to you. Joy responded with a bitter laugh. You think you wronged me? Please. You're just another actress trying to stay relevant by writing cookbooks and talking about your feelings. The insult stunned the room. Valerie's eyes appeared to fill with tears, but she refused to sit down or retreat. Instead, she looked directly at Joy. You know what's really sad? A woman bullying someone on live television because she seems unhappy with her own life. Honestly, I feel sorry for you. The studio fell into complete silence. Joy stared at Valerie, seemingly stunned by the response. Her expression hardened as she slowly repeated the words, You think I'm unhappy with my own life? Her voice became quieter, but the anger underneath it was obvious. Let me tell you what unhappy looks like. It looks like someone desperately trying to reinvent themselves because they're afraid people have forgotten them. Valerie shook her head in disbelief. This is unbelievable. I've done interviews for years, and I've never experienced anything like this. What is wrong with you? Joy immediately fired back. What's wrong is that I've been doing television longer than you've been relevant, and now I'm expected to sit here and listen to another celebrity story about finding herself through cooking. Whoopi stood up. Joy, that's enough. We need to go to commercial. But Joy turned toward Whoopi. Don't tell me that's enough. You've been watching this show change for years. I'm not going to pretend everything is fine anymore. The other hosts remained frozen. Sarah looked deeply uncomfortable, while the rest of the panel seemed unsure whether they should intervene or stay silent. Behind the scenes, producers were reportedly scrambling to decide what to do next. The cameras were still rolling, and there was no easy way to hide what was happening. Valerie remained standing beside her chair. She looked at Whoopi, then glanced around the table. Finally, she spoke in a much calmer voice. I think I should leave. This clearly isn't about me anymore, and I don't want to be part of whatever is happening here. The audience remained silent as Valerie prepared to walk away. For several seconds, nobody moved. What had begun as a cookbook interview had completely spiraled out of control. And now the question was whether the show could recover from what viewers had just witnessed. Valerie picked up her belongings and began walking away. But Joy still wasn't finished. Oh, you want to leave? How convenient, Joy called after her. You can't handle a little honest conversation. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Celebrity guests come here expecting to be praised, and the moment someone challenges them, they run. Valerie stopped. Slowly, she turned around and faced Joy. Honest conversation? She asked. Is that what you call this? You haven't asked me a single serious question about my book or my life. You've attacked me personally since I sat down. You've been cruel, and I still don't understand why." Joy gave a sharp laugh. "You haven't seen cruel yet. Cruel is watching talented people get pushed aside while celebrities try to buy their way back into relevance with another cookbook. Cruel is being expected to pretend I care about a celebrity's personal journey while there are real problems happening in the world." The tension was unbearable. Sunny Host finally attempted to intervene. "Joy, I think everyone needs to step back for a moment. This isn't productive." Joy immediately turned toward her. "Productive? What's productive about giving airtime to people who have nothing meaningful to contribute? What's productive about turning this show into celebrity therapy?" Her voice grew louder with every sentence. Valerie finally stopped arguing. Instead, she looked directly toward the camera. "I want to apologize to everyone watching this. I came here hoping to share something positive, and instead, you're witnessing something incredibly uncomfortable. This isn't who I am, and I hope this isn't what this show wants to become." That statement made Joy furious. "Don't apologize for me," she shouted. "And don't try to make yourself look like the victim. You're just another celebrity who can't handle being challenged." Whoopi stood up and positioned herself between them. "Joy, stop. This has gone way too far." But Joy refused to back down. "I'll stop when I'm ready," she replied. "I'm tired of being managed and told how I'm supposed to behave. This is live television. Sometimes live television gets messy." Valerie looked directly at Joy. "I genuinely hope you get whatever help you need, because this behavior isn't acceptable. I'm leaving, and I won't be coming back." She turned and walked away. Joy shouted after her, telling her not to return. The cameras followed Valerie as she left the set with her head held high. Joy remained standing near the table, breathing heavily as the studio fell into an almost unbelievable silence. Sarah was the first to speak. "Joy, what just happened?" Her voice was barely above a whisper. Joy laughed bitterly. "What's so surprising? This is exactly who I am when I'm not pretending to be nice for the cameras. I'm tired of pretending, Sarah. I'm tired of all of it." For the first time, uncertainty appeared on Joy's face. Whoopi tried one more time to regain control. "Joy, let's sit down and finish the show. We can talk about everything later." Joy stared at her. "Finish the show? You think we can just pretend this never happened and go back to cooking tips and celebrity gossip? You think the audience is going to forget what they just witnessed?" She pointed toward the cameras. "I don't know how to pretend anymore, Whoopi. I don't know how to smile and nod when everything about this feels wrong. I don't know how to be fake just because that's what television expects." Her words left the other hosts visibly uncomfortable. Behind the scenes, producers were reportedly debating whether to cut away, but the cameras continued rolling. Joy looked toward the audience. "You came here expecting your usual celebrity fluff and morning show banter. Well, congratulations. You got something real today. You got to see what happens when someone finally stops playing the game." She turned back toward her colleagues. "And you all know I'm right. You know this show has lost its way. You know we've become a joke, but you're too afraid to admit it because you don't want to rock the boat." Sunny tried again to calm things down. "Joy, we all care about this show. Maybe this conversation should happen when we're not live on television." Joy shook her head. "When we're not live? You mean when the cameras are off and we can pretend we're all friends again?" She stepped closer to the camera. "No, if we're going to have this conversation, we're having it now, while America is watching." The studio remained completely silent as Joy stared directly into the lens, apparently ready to say everything she had been holding back. You want to know the truth about what happens behind the scenes here? You want to know why this show feels different lately? It's because we've all been told to play it safe, avoid controversy, smile at every celebrity who walks through that door, pretend everything is wonderful. The studio remained frozen. Whoopi stepped forward, trying to keep her voice calm. Joy, this is not the time or place for this conversation. We have a responsibility to our viewers and to each other to handle this professionally. Professionally? Joy turned toward her with a bitter laugh. You mean professionally sitting there while that guest disrespected me? Or professionally trying to silence me when I was saying what everyone is afraid to say? She gestured toward the table. Are we really going to pretend this show is still what it used to be? Because I think everyone here knows it has changed. The other hosts stood awkwardly together, unsure what to do. Sarah looked visibly shaken, while Sunny appeared equally uncomfortable. Joy began pacing across the stage. The real problem isn't that I was rude to a guest. The real problem is that nobody wants to hear the truth anymore. Everything has to be softened, sanitized, and made comfortable. Well, I'm done with that. She stopped and looked directly at her colleagues. You all judge me for speaking my mind. But where were you when producers started telling us to tone everything down? Where were you when the booking decisions changed? You went along with it because fighting was harder. Whoopi tried again. Joy, we can discuss all of this, but not like this, not in front of the audience. Fair? Joy's voice rose. You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that I gave years of my career to this show, and now I'm constantly told to be nicer? Is it fair that we're expected to praise every celebrity cookbook like it's a revolutionary work? Is it fair that honest conversations are discouraged because someone might get offended? The audience sat in stunned silence. Some viewers had begun holding up their phones, recording the confrontation. Joy noticed. Go ahead, record it, post it everywhere. Let people see what happens when someone finally stops playing along. Then she turned toward the cameras. You know what? I'm done. I'm done with the fake conversations. I'm done pretending to be someone I'm not just to protect ratings. The words sent a shock through the studio. Whoopi immediately stepped forward. Joy, take a step back. You're upset. Don't make a decision you can't take back. But Joy was already removing her microphone. I absolutely mean it. I've never meant anything more. She placed the microphone on the table. I've spent decades in television, and I've never been more disappointed by what the industry has become. The manufactured drama, the celebrity worship, the fake relationships. I'm tired of all of it. Sarah finally spoke. Joy, please don't do this. We can work through whatever is happening. The show needs you. Joy looked at her sadly. The show doesn't need me. It doesn't need any of us. This business replaces people constantly. That's something everyone here needs to understand. She began collecting her belongings. I started in this industry when women had to fight for every opportunity. We had to work twice as hard just to be taken seriously. And now we sit around a table discussing celebrity gossip and pretending it's meaningful journalism. Whoopi made one final attempt. Joy, please, don't let one terrible moment destroy everything you've built. Joy stopped. She looked at Whoopi, and for the first time, her anger seemed to disappear. One terrible moment? This isn't one terrible moment. This is years of frustration finally coming out. She picked up her purse. This is me admitting that maybe I don't belong here anymore. Joy walked toward the edge of the stage, then stopped and turned back toward the cameras. To anyone watching who thinks I've completely lost my mind, maybe you're right. I've spent years trying to fit into a world that no longer makes sense to me. I've tried being polite when I wanted to be honest. She paused. And I'm tired of pretending celebrity culture doesn't have serious problems. I'm tired of pretending television always serves the audience. The studio was almost completely silent. Joy looked toward her former colleagues. I wish you all the best. I really do. But I can't keep sitting at that table pretending everything is fine when I don't believe it is. Then she walked away. The cameras continued rolling. Whoopi eventually turned toward the audience. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Her voice lacked its usual confidence, but as the cameras followed Joy toward the backstage area, her voice could still be heard. Don't follow me with those cameras. I'm done being your content. Moments later, the program cut to commercial. The fallout was immediate. Clips of the confrontation spread across social media, with viewers debating whether Joy had finally said what many people had been thinking, or whether she had gone far beyond the limits of acceptable behavior. When the show returned, the remaining hosts looked visibly shaken. The guest was gone. Joy was gone. But the tension remained. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain. The program could continue, but the atmosphere at that table had changed permanently. And the biggest question remained unanswered. Was Joy's outburst simply the result of one explosive confrontation, or had years of frustration finally reached a breaking point? Because sometimes the most dramatic moments on television aren't planned. Sometimes they happen when someone simply decides they have nothing left to lose.